Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Mr. Robbins' Math Workshop. Today we're going to be talking about weight using the customary system. And in America, we use ounces and pounds. So most of you probably have seen this on already. But 16 ounces is equal to 1 pound. Underneath it, I've actually written out the symbols. So for ounces, that's where you'll see the OZ. And after pound, you'll see LB. And if it's more than 1 pound, then that's where you'll see the LBS. A little background history here. The symbol LB actually comes from the Latin word libra pondo. I hope I'm saying that correct. But that means pound weight. And that's where we actually get that symbol. And you'll see, excuse me, that when there's more than 1 pound, they just put an S there. So I guess that would be pound weights. I don't know. I don't speak Latin. But, all right, let's do some conversions. Normally in America, we list the pounds, then the ounces. So maybe you said, when I was born, I was 7 pounds, 8 ounces. Or maybe you were a monster-sized baby and you were 15 pounds, 3 ounces. So we usually list the larger. Miss Robbins is laughing. She said that's a big baby. I think our biggest
8 pounds
was 8 pounds. So that's still a pretty good sized baby. But so in America we usually list the pounds first, then the ounces. But let's do some of the conversions. So if I were to give you, keeping this in mind that 16 ounces is equal to 1 pound, if I were to say 2 LBS is equal to how many ounces? This is where you would use your multiplication. You would say 2 times 16. And we know that 2 times 16 is 32 ounces. And we can just work our way right on up. Say, for example, if we said 5 pounds is equal to how many ounces? I'm actually going to write this down. I'm going to do a little area model here. So I'm going to say 5, and I'm going to split apart that 16 into 10 and 6. 5 times 10 is 50. 5 times 6 is 30. Add my two partial products together, and that gives me 80. So 5 pounds is equal to 80 ounces. So really, there's not a whole lot. We don't break it down more than just the ounces and the pounds. I mean, we do get into smaller ones, but for 4th grade, pounds, ounces, and we're going to talk about one at the end called tons, and that one's kind of cool. When we start getting up into larger weights, we'll talk about that in a minute. So that's all you have to do to make those conversions. But a lot of times, like we said, you'll have mixed units, you'll have pounds and ounces. So let's look at one. Say your baby brother, baby sister, or cousin, or just heard of a baby that weighed 7 pounds and 4 ounces. Well, that looks like 40 to me. 4 ounces. So now we need to make this conversion. So again, we know that to convert from pounds to ounces, we're going to multiply by 16. So I'm going to do that over here with the area model again. I'm going to say 7 times 16. I'm going to decompose or break apart 16 into 10 and 6. That's my 1s and my 10s. So 7 times 10, 70. 7 times 6, 42. I still pause sometimes, like I'm in class waiting for somebody to say the answer. Maybe I should have Trip in here so he can be like, what's 7 times 6? And I just wait. Another thing I noticed when I watched my other videos, I kept like looking down at the paper. I guess I was nervous. I'd be like, there are 5,280. And I was like, wait a minute, I know this, but it looks like I don't because maybe I'm just nervous being on the camera. But so here we have 70 plus 42. So I'm going to say 70 plus 42 is 112 ounces. So 7 pounds is 112 ounces, plus this 4 ounces equals a total of 116 ounces. That's kind of cool. If you learn these conversions and people say, oh, how big was your baby brother or sister when they were born? 116 ounces. The average person would probably be kind of clueless for a minute, like, wait, because they're trying to do that math in their mind. Was he like 15 pounds? Was he 12 pounds? I don't know. But you know how to do the conversion now. And same thing, I don't want to get too much into conversions from the ounces to pounds, because in 4th grade we don't use division larger than 1 digit, but in 5th grade you will. So for example, if they gave us the ounces first, so they gave us 32 ounces is equal to how many pounds, this is where you would have to use division. You would say 32 divided by 16 equals 2. So 32 ounces is equal to 2 pounds. And like I said, we don't do double digit division yet in 4th grade, but it's nice to just see how that works. Some of you may already be doing this, on your path in iReady may be taking you to the double digit. The only double digit that we do in 4th grade is like by 10 units of 10. But so that's how that would work. And if you can't quite figure that, remember we can always work that backwards and say 2 times what would give me 32, and we know that that would be 16 ounces again. So let's look at this other one that I mentioned earlier called a ton. You'll hear people say, oh man, that must weigh a ton. Well, what do they mean when they say something weighs a ton, or that animal weighs 4 tons? Well, 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. That's a lot of weight. And a lot of times that's where they would just use this unit as opposed to right now how many tons. You'll hear they'll say sometimes I'll see this ship that's deploying is 157,000 tons or some huge number like that. But let's put that in terms of an elephant. The average elephant weighs 7 tons. Now I know there are some elephants that are smaller, some that are bigger, but this is just the average elephant. He weighs about 7 tons. And that would be pretty easy math there, because we know that we're going to say 7 times 2,000. So I'm going to do that down here. 7 times 2,000. We know we would just multiply 7 times 2, which gives us 14. And because we know our rules of multiplication and we know our place value, we know we can just add these 3 zeros. So 7 tons is equal to 14,000 pounds. It's a lot of weight. So again, maybe you can kind of teach your friends something next time a kid says something about a big number of weight. You can then make that conversion in tons for them and impress them. That is all there really is to weight in 4th grade, is ounces, pounds, and tons, until we get into the metric system, and we'll talk about that more later. But I do want to give you 2 little challenges real quick. One of them, when I was looking on our pictures of our friends yesterday, one of our friends, Lytia, she was lifting 2 dumbbells. So she had 2 dumbbells. Does that have 2 B's or 1?
Oh.
I don't know that I've ever wrote dumbbells before.
I've never written the word dumbbells.
That's weird. This is live TV. So Miss Robbins will Google that. I think it might just be
dumbbells. Yeah, it's 2 B's.
2 B's. Okay, just looked weird.
It does.
She had 2 dumbbells, and they were 5 pounds each. So my question to you is, if she had 2 dumbbells and they were 5 pounds each. How many total ounces? So I'm looking for total ounces was she lifting. Total ounces. So maybe tomorrow morning you can give me the answer to that, and I'll give you one more challenge.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you'll give him a Skittle.
I would give you a Skittle if you were here, but I'm going to give you one more challenge. I would never, trust me on this, I would never use Miss Robin's weight as an example. She's giving me a look. She's off camera right here. I would. But Mr. Robbins weighs 160 pounds. So I weigh 160 pounds. How many ounces is that? How many ounces is 160 pounds? So here's two little challenges. This, like I said, this is not graded. This is just something I want you to really push yourself. So Lithia was lifting 2 dumbbells at 5 pounds each. How many total ounces? Not for each dumbbell, but total. And then I weigh 160 pounds. So how many ounces? And I better not get anything that comes back with tons. It's not going to be tons. Trust me. But, so maybe tomorrow morning during our 9 o'clock meeting, maybe we can just put that in the stream. Maybe you can say, hey, I got the answer, and then we'll say, okay. Or we'll call on somebody, and you can maybe give us the answers to those two. Again, in math, we'll talk about this more this morning. iReady is having issues because iReady is a national company, and there are, multiple states are doing virtual school right now, and they're just getting overwhelmed with the amount of teachers that are assigning lessons. And I know that some of you last night didn't get your lesson, your assigned lesson on length and customary units, and that's okay. You can just work on it today. We know that this is kind of a thing across the nation that is unprecedented. That there's going to be some hiccups, and it might take us this week and maybe a little bit into next week to get things running smoothly. So I don't want you freaking out if something doesn't get uploaded on your computer. We understand. I know Trips didn't get it till late last night. I didn't want him to go in there at 9 o'clock at night and have to feel like he had to get that lesson done for some reason. And we'll talk about this more here in a few minutes when we go live. But
9 minutes.
9 minutes, actually. So for any reason, if something's not on your, like an assigned lesson's not on your iReady, that's okay. I understand that. And you can just make it up. I don't want you trying to stay up to midnight to get it in. Just do something on your path. And for parents that are not necessarily, familiar with iReady, there's 2 different things. There's the path, which means your student has work that's on their level, and their level could be 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. We even have some doing 6th grade. And that's their path, and it might be a different lesson than what I'm actually teaching. So if for some reason something's not uploaded, maybe they just do a lesson that day on their path. If iReady has it where it's uploaded, and I did check this morning, and Trips was uploaded. I know some was working on it, like it uploaded late last night. Then I will tell you what teacher assigned lesson to do that day. If you do a teacher assigned lesson, you do not have to do a lesson on your path that day. If you want to be, extra studious and just go above and beyond, and you want to do the teacher assigned lesson and one on your path, that's fine. But even coming down from Mr. Broski, he's the new superintendent of schools, he wants this to be where we're supporting your education, getting you ready to move on to the next grade, but he doesn't want this to be a stressful time where you feel like if I don't get this done, I'm getting an F and I'm in trouble. It's not what we're doing. If you don't get it today, get it tomorrow. We would definitely, we've always worked with you on getting this math done, the reading done. We want this to be, we keep stressing 3 things: educational, fun, and no stress. We don't want this to be stressful. So I did check this morning. You should have the customary unit. A few of you have done it. I also looked on MobiMax, and I can see where not quite half of you have started that. Some of you may have completed the whole MobiMax thing. Good for you. You can always drop back and do some of the more work on your path if you're completely done with both. But I look on there and I see that about half of you need to start the MobiMax, and that's just working at your pace. That's more of like a daily grade, a weekly grade. I'm not gonna look at this stuff until Friday to really make sure that on the MobiMax that I'm just looking every day to make sure that you're doing some of it. Same thing with the science. About half of you have started looking at the slides. If you have any problem, uh, logging into MobiMax or finding it, just let us know. I think iReady keeps its hours on until about 9 o'clock last night. We were answering dojos even up to then, and we want to do that because that means you're trying. But we definitely, Ms. Robbins has given me the old gotta go symbol because we're fixing to be on live. So we'll answer some of these questions live here in a few minutes. So talk to you and see you in a few minutes live. Bye.